Alright, so this week's Rogue Wednesday deck is an Oloro Lifegain deck. And so it's basically just an excuse to try and play Crested Sunmare in Commander. And there's a few other payoffs for gaining life, like Angelic Accord, and Eiley and Karlov, and, Aetherflux Reservoir, those kind of things. And there's a bunch of ways to gain life on top of just Oloro, because you need 4 life per turn to activate the Angelic Accord. And then there's a bunch of things to do with your life, like drawing cards, Bitter Blossom, those kind of things, removal via Anguish Unmaking because you've got a bunch of life. And then, and so that's kind of the goal, is to, drain your opponents out of life while or swing with angels or horses, or do something with all that extra life in order to make it kind of useful. So I don't know if it's going to be good or not. It was pretty decent in testing, but we'll take it to some matches and find out. All right, we got a match. We're on the playing against Keranos. Not a great matchup. We've got a bunch of creatures, and this Keranos is generally has a lot of ways to deal with creatures. Brain Maggot's alright. Alright, doesn't get countered. Let's take the Rift. Hope to be able to counter the Jace. Alright, that's pretty good. No reason to escalate this. He's just going to counter it. But that's fine. Oh. I guess... Logic Knot? Rune Snag? Rune Snag's a strange one. I think Logic Knot's a little harder to play around than Rune Snag. Get Underground Sea. He's probably going to Rune Snag this. And I'm actually going to let it fly. I want to miscalculation the Jace. Alright, he didn't, so that's great. Maybe he doesn't play the Jace because he can't leave anything up. Alright, we were able to disrupt him quite a bit, and that helped a lot. And it looks like he missed a land drop. So, I guess that doesn't demonstrate much except that disruption is good. Alright, we got another match. We're on the draw, playing against Ifara. Alright. We're on the draw. We need to draw a land. At least we can cast Mesmeric Fiend. Guess we actually need 2 lands. White bordered coastal tower, huh? Not a land. Not a spell we can cast. Alright. That hurts the 3 planeswalkers in our hand. Alright, that's a land. What do we got here? Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, your control creatures you control get +1/+1. Or Thraben Inspector. Let's take the Thraben Inspector, I guess. And we don't have white mana yet either. Alright. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I will get a plains. I only have a couple of ways on Oloro. Okay. Not the end of the world. Let's play the Angelic Concord and hopefully we can find a way to gain 2 life at some point in the future. It costs 4 mana to sack that clue. I think he's just now figuring that out. Yep. Alright, Spirit Bonds. Alright. I'm not going to kill a Thraben Inspector. Pretty unfortunate that we drew so many planeswalkers. There's only like 4 in the deck, and we drew like all of them. All right, see what we can find on his instep. We could Vindicate Suppression Field, but I think I'd rather just gain 2 life. Do we have anything that can gain 2 life every turn? Ojitai's command seems pretty good to counter the Afara and gain 4 life. That seems fine. Oh, well that sucks. No thank you. Alright, let's go. Counter target creature spell, gain 4 life. Another planeswalker. 2 point. At least we got some lands. What color do we want? I guess we want a white land. Let's get a scrub land. We got a ton of blue mana. Oh, that sucks. Alright, that's fine. Now let's Thoughtseize. Phantasmal Age Image, Soul Warden. What's Essence Flood? Alright, you can use that if you want. I guess the image has the greatest upside. It's not great right now, but in the future it's going to be pretty good. Could be. It's just attack. And say go. Discard this one, I guess. My token creator is better, although it's harder to activate. If I could have played Kaya, I could have made one every turn. If we draw an untapped land, it's not a fetch land. We could play Kaya and activate it and make another angel. Get Scrubland. All right. Does it matter what we Cavernous Souls? This guy is a giant soldier, but we can't cast him right now. What else do we have? We have humans. Let's just do human. Do we want to attack? No, I'd rather keep Kaya around. We can wait. Sorry. Alright, another fetch land. That's fun. And, I don't think it really matters what mana we use. And then let's play a fetch land and sack it into turn. And let's attack with one of our angels. We've got Dismember up. He's gaining 1 life for each angel we get. Which is less than great. Does this thing count as a creature? Yeah, it counts as a creature when he plays it. Creatures get +1/+1. Alright. Now he can make a flyer too and make them 3/3s. I should probably kill the Soul Warden. Alright. Oh, Kaya dies anyways, huh? Well, I guess at least we get... kill one of the flyers and one of the other guys. And then... Kaya dies no matter what, so we don't need to use the Dismember yet. Maybe it's a better way to use her mana. Just to get rid of another creature. I guess Tundra. Thought it generate black if you played a mana, not if a mana entered the battlefield. This thing's a 3/3 normally. It's a 2/2 normally. Let's get rid of a flyer. Do we want to draw? Soren doesn't do anything. We can make another angel with Elspeth and its plus ability. That's pretty good. This doesn't quite force a block. It's going to take a lot for him to kill Elspeth. And if he does, it's not super the end of the world. But we're still just attack with 2. Angelica Core's been pretty good here. I'm surprised. Alright, there's a Farah. I'll trade. This is going to make it real hard for him to keep on living. So now he has to block at least 1. Do we care about keeping Elspeth alive? We can chump block a Farah. Let's attack with all of them. We've got him down to 12 life. Yeah, he has to. He theoretically has to block both because the 2 life that he loses on our upkeep. This Valor and Akros was pretty good for him. Maybe I should have taken that at some point. I had the Thoughtseize, and I took Phantasmal Image, but I probably could have killed the Phantasmal Image. And I didn't think about this being a good way to kill my Planeswalkers. You don't see this card very often. But it's been pretty good for him. Also, the Spirit Bonds has given him a bunch of chump blockers, but... Alright. And it makes the Valor doubly effective. We have him dead in our hand. If we can keep Elspeth alive without even attacking. Alright, yep, we won. So that was really nice to see Angelica Cord doing its work. Really interesting. Alright, we got a match. We are on the draw. Playing against Marin. Seems like a decent hand. The Pro Black Ariak champion might be pretty hard to kill. He's got a Thoughtseize. Mox Diamond, jeez. He's down to 4 cards. Dark Confidant. Let's wait to Inquisition. Not sure why exactly. Right, he hits life from the loam, which is like the perfect combo with the Mox. I'd like to hit some removal. Alright. I think he has to take the Auric Champion. It's so hard to deal with. Okay. Does he have another removal or another discard spell? Alright, life from the loam. Alright, that does a thing. I don't know if it's great. This one doesn't create... this one, we'd have to get a Tundra. I'd rather get a black land. Let's just go straight for white. Play the Auric Champion. Always yes, always yield. We'll swing. Alright, he had a forest. So that's not great. And then he drew life from the loam, hitting 2 lands. Always yes, always yields. Tireless Tracker is really good. But I think everybody already knew that. Alright. Do I want to wait and drain with the Soul Warden next turn? Because I can Blind Obedience and then drain with the Soul Warden. I don't know if it does that much. Nah, it's just... we might be playing into a Toxic Deluge or something like that. There's every reason in the world that they might want to play something like that. So that is one way to deal with the Auric Champion. We definitely want to play the Blind Obedience. And then... maybe we do wait. I guess we could drain with Combo. Nah. Let's just wait. Oh, he got a Dryad Arbor. That's interesting. And he drew a Smuggler's Copter, so he's down to 19. The clue enters the battlefield tapped, not that that matters. Alright, there's Mirren. Tapped. Caustic Caterpillar. Hopefully we can draw that. I put a bunch of removal in this deck because when I was testing it, I played against Jace Vryn's Prodigy and it just didn't have enough removal, so I added a bunch of removal. Alright. We'll drain once. And Mesmeric Fiend. See, Minister of Pain does what? Oh. That's really bad. Let's take that. He might be able to kill the Mesmeric Fiend. It's unlikely that he can kill it and still deal with the, or cast the Minister of Pain. He can kill our Blind Obedience. Oh, what did he hit? He hit Sylvan Library. So, yeah, okay, there's the Blind Obedience. And you can get that right back, so our artifacts and enchantments are no good anymore. Alright, he life for the loam for a bunch of pain lands. Plays a Smuggler's Copter. I guess he can get a Llanowar Elves. Alright. We don't currently have any artifacts or enchantments. I think he's pretty good. Can't do anything this turn with her. I mean, we can sack creatures for no value, but I gotta auto yield to that one. Can start exiling permanents with Eiley. We have to sack a creature to do it. So he took 3 from Phyrexian Arena. And he put the Jit in his graveyard by dredging the life from the loam. Jit would be tremendously good right now. He might have a way to get it back. Although we know he drew Phyrexian Arena and life from the loam. And we've seen most of the rest of his hand, I think. Oh, no, it's not a... The Llanowar Elves is in his hand. I was thinking that last time. So we've seen that. Pretty sure we've seen the Forest. And Life from Loan is... So we know 4 of his cards. I don't know what we exile. Maybe Mirren? Maybe Smuggler's Copter? Smuggler's Copter's pretty good. Yeah. I think that's probably what we need to exile with Eiley. discarded land anywhere else, so we can get that back. Wow, that's a nice little combo there. Do you play the arena at 13 life? And with the Dark Confidant play? I mean, the card advantage is pretty hard to say no to. The Sylvan Library is also probably not going to be drawing cards with Sylvan Library at this point, but the card selection is tremendous. Alright, oh, he's got 4 card types. That's not good. Alright, revoking Eiley. I'd really like him not to play the Sylvan Library. Oh, well, I guess not the Phyrexian Arena anymore. Oh, no, he can still play the Phyrexian Arena. I'd like to play combo. He could be swinging at me with his Tireless Tracker. He could also be drawing a ton of cards with these clues. Alright, so he plays the Sylvan Library. Where does Graveyard go? Alright, that doesn't do a lot. Let's just play combo. Makes it hard for him to play non-creature spells. Alright, Ancient Tomb off the Dark Confidant. This is a hard one. He's just got so much card advantage, and we don't have. Well, we've missed our land drops for quite a few turns, and we don't really have any way to interact with his graveyard synergies. Not many decks in the format do, but a lot of decks have ways to kill Mirren. We have ways to kill Mirren. We just haven't drawn them. You want to take 2 damage for playing a non-creature spell? Alright. Sacking clues. That makes sense. I'm not sure why it took him so long. Alright. Doesn't do a lot to attack with the Tireless Tracker, but I think it's correct. We could double block, but I'm not interested in that. Maybe we could Eiley and Soul Warden block. 4 damage just isn't that significant. Alright, he's found a way to gain some life. So many clues. life total is insane. Can we draw an Aether Flux Reservoir? That would be so awesome. Does that do anything? It makes a lifelink token. Make an emblem that does nothing. Do we play it anyways? It's a way to stall for a couple more turns. We can block with the token. Yeah, he hit Tech Edge. Yeah, because he can stack his library with the Sylvan Library now. It's not very likely that he's going to hit it, lose much more life from Dark Confidant. And a Tech Edge. I think this is over. Green Sun Zenith for 3. Alright, he took 2 life from that. We're at 77. I mean, he does have to actually kill us, but it doesn't seem like it's that hard. Now he's getting the jet back. Why does the graveyard keep doing that? Oh, it's popping out onto my other monitor. Alright. Can't put it on a black creature. You can put it on the Smuggler's Copter. It's probably the best route. Falls halfway every turn, but he's got a lot more mana than we do. As long as he doesn't Tech Edge us, we can still draw into an Aether Flux Reservoir and just kill him. Does he want us to kill the Dark Confidant? Doesn't make... Do we... His top card's a land. I don't get that. I guess he can just get it right back. So it's a freebie. But he didn't kill Sorin. Not that it really matters. Sorin doesn't do anything. Oh, that's not good. Alright. And you can get that back every turn. I think I don't have Demonic Tutor in the deck. I think I need to put Demonic Tutor in the deck. Wouldn't be a great top deck here, but I was thinking Vamp Tutor technically get us there. If he doesn't Tech Edge us. You can have my Consuming Vapors all you want. Darkslick Shores. Alright, I don't want to draw this out. I'm just throwing it in the towel. It's almost, it's purely just going through the motions. He can easily find a way to kill us and just do tons of damage to us, and it just would take too long, and there's almost no way we can continue to get damage through. So we'll just move on. Alright, got another match. Playing against Selvala. I don't know if we can rely on this miscalculation alone. I think I gotta try and mulligan it. Alright, this looks pretty good actually. And I will gladly take that. We're on the draw. If we get a Tundra, then this comes into play untapped and that. So let's go ahead and get a Tundra. And play a Solward. So there's a good chance, even if we're killing Selvala, that it's just going to go over the top of us. Oh, that's awesome. We can't kill that this turn. So let's play the Shores. Let's sword that thing. And let's say go. Might have to vindicate another Selvala. He's getting a lot of mana already. I really would rather use this on the forest there, but not much we can do. Can't allow him to untap with Selvala if we can avoid it. He's still going to have 6 mana this turn. Which doesn't bode well for us. Alright, he's swinging for 1. He's 1 mana away from another Selvala. So next turn. So hopefully Painful Truce will get us there. So he doesn't have something for 6 mana, otherwise he wouldn't have attacked with the Mystic. Alright. And he's searching for something? That's not great. Prime time? Prime time just lets him get Ayavu again, and then the game's basically over at that point. Unless we get like a Thoughtseize this turn. Oh no, we're drawing a Tundra this turn. And we won't have any mana left after Painful Truce. So I don't know why it takes you this long to find prime time. Ulamog. Alright. You're a couple turns from that, aren't you? Unless he's got some trick up his hat. Alright. Sin Collector doesn't pull Ulamog out of his hand. Righteous Confluence doesn't deal with Selvala. Oh, he had the prime time. Okay. That's fantastic. What? Did he just draw it? I mean, he must have had it last turn. Why didn't he just cast prime time last turn? I guess it's a little slower than Primal commanding us and getting the... I guess that does work. It slows us down while getting the Ulamog so you don't have to spend 7 mana on the Ayabugan. Seems like a decent play. All right. Well, we have answers to that, but we haven't drawn any of them, so it's over. All right. So the audio from this game got lost. My microphone was acting up, and there was no audio. I thought it was still a pretty interesting match, so I figured I'd just re-record over the audio post the game. So I'm playing against Karametra here, and I am on the draw. So Karametra is an interesting commander. I really like Karametra in multiplayer commander. It's a really cool ramp one. You can do a lot of cool things with creatures and just, but I think it's probably too slow for the 1v1 commander format in general. So I drew Mesmeric Fiend, and I played the Marsh Slats. He didn't play a Mana Elf, which makes Karametra even slower. And then he plays a Temple. So he's off to a pretty slow start. Alright, so we're going to always yield, and then we draw a Flagstones. And I still want to draw a land, so I decided to play the Flagstones instead of Windswept Heath, so that I'm only filtering 1 land out of my library. It's fairly insignificant percentage-wise, but still, leaving more lands in my library is generally a good idea. So I get the first look at his hand with the Mesmeric Fiend. And it's a really interesting deck. There's a lot of creature enchantments and stuff like that. And so I was thinking about the Heliod, but then I realized you can play the Boon Satyr next turn and then start enchanting it. And I might have trouble dealing with that. I do have the Vindicate, so maybe I could have taken the Heliod, but I decided to take the Boon Satyr and pass the turn. And so now he doesn't have, unless he draws something, he doesn't have much he can play. Until next turn when he can play Heliod. Alright, still haven't drawn a land. But I drew Eiley. I think I'm thinking about what to play. I don't actually remember what I played here. I think it was a post-combat Painful Truce. Looks like it. Go for a Scrubland there. And play the Painful Truce. I think I have to discard based on this. But ensuring land is probably, it's, Alright, so I draw into Consuming Vapors, which is pretty good if, against like a god that's the only creature, if it comes to that. I decide that the Sin Collector isn't going to do that much except be a 2-1 for 3 mana. Doesn't look like he's playing too many instants and enchantments, or instants and sorceries. So now he's got enough mana for Heliod. but he drew a Prowling Serpapard. So I definitely want to kill that thing because I don't have any counters, but I still want to be able to get damage through, and I don't want to give him something he can put enchantments on yet. Just want to slow him down. And I play the Auriac Champion? That's a... Oh yeah, because if I play any creatures later, playing Eiley after the Auriac Champion is a better play. Oh, and I decide that I'm going to dismember in response to him putting an enchantment on the Prowling Serpapard. But I think he sees through that and plays the Helion instead. No, he plays the Karametra instead. And so, no reason to take damage from the Serpapard. I do take 4 damage from the Dismember, which sets me back on Eiley a bit, but still worth it, I think. Also, getting rid of those incidental creatures might make the Consuming Vapors work better. Alright, so he drew Face Fetters, and we knew about the Ancestral Mask and the Shieldy Oversoul. And he would clearly be Face Fettering Eiley. So I think that's what I decided to take. And I could probably do this after combat, but it's not really that significant since he's tapped out. But in general, you probably want to play these things after combat. If they're not tapped out, they might have actions during combat that you want to draw out before they know what's going on, what you're going to play. If they're tapped out, it matters less. And then, Eiley has that ability that I can sacrifice another creature if I have more than 10 life more than my starting life total. So if I get up to 40 life, I can exile any non-land permanent. So that means a god. I have to sacrifice a creature, but I've got quite a few creatures in the deck. Alright, so he plays Heliod, and I draw a land, and since I don't have much else going on, I swing first, and then I believe I play the Oloro. And yep, Oloro comes down. Missing a trigger here, don't have enough mana to draw a card there, but we can draw a card on our upkeep if he survives. We're up to 36 life for Eiley now. So if we can gain 2 life next turn, we can activate Eiley. He plays a Starfield of Nyx, which lets him return enchantments from the graveyard to play. So I do have the Vindicate in my hand. That counts as a different trigger, so I have to. I'm going to draw a card. Draw an Ancestral Vision. Doesn't look like I'll have an opportunity to use Eiley this turn, but next turn Eiley should be active. So, exile the Ancestral Vision. Swing. I don't know specifically why I put it in that order. And then Vindicate. Since he did have untapped mana, I think it was probably correct to swing before casting anything, just so he has the least amount of information if he had a swords or something like that. It's not a huge difference, but it can kind of matter. Alright, so Gaia's Anthem gets him pretty close to activating the Devotion on his 2 gods there. Not sure about Gaia's Anthem. I guess if you're trying to win with pumping up damage that way, maybe it's alright. It seems a bit expensive. So we draw a card. It's an Oust, which is another thing that can kill an activated god. So, I remember I made a mistake here. I decide I'm going to kill the Heliod, but I do it before combat for some reason. Well, I'm thinking about which god to kill. I think I kill the Heliod because it can't come back. And I sacrifice the Mesmeric Fiends because I don't really care about the Boon Satyr anymore. He can't recast it. But I should have swung first. I mean, it's 1 damage, but it can sometimes matter. So, don't be a me. Don't do this. So he gets the Boon Satyr back, but at this point I don't really care about it. I've got a couple of ways to deal with it. I'd almost rather him put creatures, an enchantment on top of it. And then I cast the Night's Whisper to draw some more cards. Obviously casting that after activating Eiley because it takes me off the Eiley life total. And I decide to play the Vault Scourge. I'm not sure how good Vault Scourge is in the deck. It's a way to gain 1 life, but it doesn't seem... It's cheap. It's alright if you have a Tymna. There's a Tymna in the deck. So, we gain 1 of the lives that we paid back. So we're at 36 again. Can't activate that ability. And waiting on him to end his turn. There he goes. So he plays Plains. One thing I didn't really add up is that Boon Satyr plus an enchantment activates Karametra. I don't know how big of a deal it is. Like, if I had realized that that's what happened, I probably still wouldn't have cared. He could swing with it. We could either block with the Vault Scourge or take, a bunch of damage, which would put us off using Eiley for quite some time. I'm not sure what I would have done, but he isn't really able. I didn't even realize at the time that he was at 6 life. So he can't really swing with the Karametra. It's just too dangerous if I have a removal spell. It turns out I have 2 removal spells. So it doesn't really end up mattering because, like, I don't even need to activate Eiley. The 11-9 Boon Satyr is pretty big. And he's trying to decide if he can attack. I think he wisely chooses not to. But in the end, it doesn't really matter. I know I was still thinking about how I can, get Eiley active and everything like that. Because again, I didn't realize his life total was so low. And as I went to look at it for the turn, I realized, how low his life total is. And actually, just killing the Boon Satyr deactivates the Karametra. So I guess it wouldn't have mattered if I had a, he probably could have attacked with Karametra just to put me off. Because if I had a removal spell, although and then I draw a Fatal Push. So, and a Radiant Fountain. So I decide I'm going to Fatal Push the Boon Satyr to deactivate the Karametra. But I forgot it's 2 mana, not 3, so I need something to leave my side of the battlefield in order for the Fatal Push to work. So drawing the Radiant Fountain was actually kind of perfect. I can even draw an extra card off of it. So now I can activate Eiley. Yeah, so I try to cast it, but it's 2 mana, not 3. I was thinking Abrupt Decay or something like that for some reason. So I decide I don't really need the Vault Scourge. He's at 4 life now. I can just sack the Vault Scourge, kill Karametra. That makes a creature leave the battlefield, and then I can Fatal Push the Boon Satyr and swing for the win. So it took a match where there wasn't a lot of removal on the opposing side, but Oloro and Eiley really ran away with that one. I drew quite a few extra cards with Oloro, and I exiled 2 gods with Eiley. So an impressive showing for them against an, admittedly a pretty rogue deck. And his hand didn't come together very well, and we were able to disrupt his hand. So, but I still thought it was an interesting match. All right, we got a match. We're on the play. against Narset. Consuming Vapor seems pretty good. Let's go ahead and keep. What do we get here? A Scrubland or a Tundra? I guess a Scrubland. Alright, got a Mox. Discarding Decree of Silence. I mean, I guess he could counter it. They don't run that many counter spells. They run a couple. Yeah, it's just black, white, cast Eiley. We're doing anything else. Alright, I guess we're drawing an Eiley next turn. Let's play the Forest. Alright, got a Death Touch creature. But Narset has first strike, so this can't trade profitably with Narset in combat. Alright, so next turn he gets the Narset. Hopefully he doesn't have like a Dispel or a Spell Pierce or something like that. I guess Dispel doesn't do anything. A Spell Pierce. Alright. Play Sorin. Is this Narset? Alright. Awesome. Unless he has Force of Will. Can even play around Daze here. Do we make another one or do we pump it up? I kind of like the emblem. Now he can cast Narset next turn, but I doubt he wants to. Because of the rebound on Consuming Vapors. Alright. Can you make good use of that? Oh, okay. That's pretty good use. I think we might be dead here. Well, not dead necessarily. It's a pretty decent chance he can get another turn. I didn't expect that turn of events, but I guess that's what miracles are all about. That's fine. Maybe I should have made a vampire? I don't know. You hit Time Twister, Peak, Commit to Memory, and Pyroblast. Pyroblast does nothing. Time Twister is alright. Monolith. Alright. You can look at my hand for free and draw a card. Alright. I guess that's a thing you can do. Dismember doesn't do anything. Authority of the consuls make sure he can't give Narset haste in any way. You could maybe find another extra spell to, I think the only one is the Temporal Trespass, the Delve one. Yep, there's haste right there. We have Spell Queller to counter a counter spell. Alright. Do you want to create three tokens? I don't think we get anywhere if we're not casting Elspeth here. And we don't want to plus to it. He can counter it if he's got a counter spell that's like a daze or something. Alright. Don't really care about the Teferi. Stops my Spell Queller, but actually we can just dismember it. Let's make some tokens. They cannot probably block Narset. Oh, do you have the monolith to play Factor Fiction? Interesting. What did he take? Oh, okay. He took the Teferi and the 2 lands. Because he could have taken the authority of the consuls with Kefnet's last word. Interesting card. Guess it's more flexible than mind control, but that and then the untap clause doesn't matter as much when you have a bunch of artifacts. City of Traders. Alright. It can be hard for us to deal with another Narset. Unless I draw something wonderful here. Potentially Oloro and +2 and then draw a card, but then we can't do anything with that card. Alright. And we drew a land. He has a few ways to get Narset out of combat. Or they usually do. Do we want to draw a card? I'd rather just have a bunch of blockers so they can't get just one blocker out of the way and make... So I almost want to just sacrifice Elspeth here to make 3 more tokens and play Oloro. I'm gonna do that. Make him have to have a way to make combat bad for me, or you know, like a way to pull Narset out of combat. I mean, he could just like find a way to win or something like that too. This makes it harder. Alright. See, that's why I wanted to make more soldiers. Combat's still unprofitable. It's like I have to block with all 6 in order to do it, but technically not all 6. All right, what do you get? Memory Lapse, Mind's Desire. Alright, so he casted one other spell this turn. He could bounce one of these. So I want to block with all of them. Alright, if he's got another spell, he can Mind's Desire. I guess he could Mind Desire for 2. Alright, there's for knowledge. Brings the Mind's Desire count up to 3. I don't know if I want to kill Oloro. Alright, Lion's Eye Diamond makes it 4. Well, that's a big Mind's Desire now. Hopefully there's some whiffs in there. Alright. It's getting bigger. Alright, 5 spells. So 6 Mind's Desires. Is that a whiff? It's a whiff. Oh. Annex. And Jace. Alright, well that's not great. Alright. Can't let him untap with Oloro. Oh yeah, he has the memory lapse. Guess it wouldn't have mattered. Maybe I didn't want to do that, because now I don't draw a card. Ugh. Maybe I should have... No. I don't think I should have killed him before the Narset trigger. Narset still costs a ton of mana. I think he can Lion's Eye Diamond it. I don't know if he can do it without the Lion's Eye Diamond. I guess we'll find out. 6 plus 6, it's 12 mana, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11. Just barely not. Unless he plays a land. Did he play a land? He played Battlefield Forge. Alright. Looks like he doesn't want to discard his hand. But then he gets it without the Lion's Eye Diamond next turn. Why does Jace have 5 counters on it? If he brainstormed. Oh, okay, he had 2 of them. He got rid of my... Well, shoot. Alright. We could do 2 damage to Jace, but that doesn't really... At the cost of my creatures. My commander's been mind controlled. I'd say I think we were kind of close to being able to control Narset, but I don't think we ever really were. Maybe I shouldn't have played Oloro, because it opened it up to control magic. That let him gain life. Our life gain doesn't matter as much. So losing the life gain doesn't really matter. Alright. It has haste, but it's tapped. Nope, 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 nope. Blue, white, white. Now we can do 5 damage to him. Spell Pierce doesn't do anything here, does it? Do we Spell Pierce anyways just to tap him out? No. Brain Maggot doesn't do anything. I'm just going to throw it in. We can't do that last few points of damage, which seems to be a reoccurring trend. Oh well. Alright, we got another one. I'm on the play. Playing against Animar. Man, I don't know if I can do anything about Animar. Do we mulligan this or do we keep it? I guess we keep it. It's not a bad hand, it just doesn't do anything against Animar, which I don't know if any of our hands do anything against Animar. Okay, we want to draw a land, so... Oh, Spell Queller actually deals with Animar. What do we want here? We want Underground Sea, definitely. Blue, white, colorless, Spell Queller. Alright, so I guess he gets Animar. And Vindicate doesn't do anything about that. Alright, that's decent. You can block if you want. Alright. We're probably dead here. Just letting him untap with Animar is like a death knell. That pro-white, pro-black is just the craziest ability. Taking 4. Alright, we take 4. And also, it doesn't help at all that we've missed land drops. Maybe I couldn't attack with Tymna. So, the Vendilion click was pretty bad for us. Counterspells are our only way. Alright. Moving on. So not the greatest showing in the world. We went 3 and 4 overall. Basically, we had a lot of trouble beating just about any established deck. There are some lines of play, like how we beat the Keranos by taking apart their hand, or through having enough removal or something like that. But we were only able to piece together some Lifegain synergies a couple of times. They're pretty easy to disrupt, and it's pretty hard to draw them all when you want to, so I don't think this is a great deck. I don't know if just putting Crested Sunmare in an Oloro deck is really the ticket either, because generally Oloro control decks don't play many creatures. So, like, you're just asking for removal for basically any creature. Any creature has to have really high impact. And I'm not sure if Crested Sunmare is really that. So I wanted to play one that was heavier in creatures to kind of drain out people's removal. But, it ended up that, people don't really care about Soul Warden and Soul Attendant. Maybe those weren't the best creatures. Maybe if we up the curve a little bit or something like that. I don't know. I thought it was fun. We got to go off a couple of times. It wasn't really what I was hoping for, but it was pretty neat. And I thought it was worth doing once. But I don't think it's a great deck overall. So thank you guys for watching. You guys have a good night.